I had a question come in on the Further Emergence Discord. Hi, John. Any thoughts or experience treating people with ADHD and autism? My sister was diagnosed with ADHD, and recently my father was diagnosed with autism. He had a normal, in inverted commas, life, and he doesn't fit the autistic stereotype that we see on TV, people who don't talk, etc. What do you think of all these adults being diagnosed now? I'm hearing about more and more people, and I guess I might be autistic too. Maybe realizing in which spectrum you are helps you know yourself better. Maybe if there are more and more people that accept that they are neurodivergent, it could have an impact on the external world, and it could be little by little more inclusive. Yep, I've lots of experience working with people with ADHD, autism, all the neurodivergent stuff, and the list is long. Let me read you a very quick list. ADHD, that stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. DID and OSDD, that's Dissociative Identity Disorder and other specified dissociative disorder. ASPD, that's Antisocial Personality Disorder. BPD, Borderline Personality Disorder. These are all under the neurodivergent umbrella. NPD, Narcissistic Personality Disorder. Dyslexia, PTSD, that's Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder, or CPSD. CPTSD, that's Complex Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder. Dyspraxia, dyscalculia. Dyspraxia is movement, difficulties with movement. Dyscalculia is difficulty with math. Dysgraphia, that's to do with writing. Bipolar, autism, epilepsy, OCD, that's obsessive compulsive disorder. ABI, that's acquired brain injury. Tic disorders, schizophrenia, misphonia, that's difficulties with sound. HPD, that's histrionic personality disorder. Down syndrome and synesthesia. And that's not an exhaustive list, and they're all under the umbrella of neurodivergent. And I'm sure I would have been diagnosed if I was a kid when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, I would sit in a chair and rock back and forward for hours. Loved it. And I remember my mother heard something about autism on the radio, and one of the signs of it was this rocking thing. So as soon as she heard that, anytime I'd start rocking, she'd be like, "Come here, come, I want to show you something." She'd distract me out of it, But I had a lot of those things, difficulty with math, difficulty writing. And I'm sure I would have been labelled. I mean, I was put in a slow class when I was in school. And it was only, it was to my great shock when I was in my adult life that I took an IQ test. A friend of mine was really interested in joining Mensa, the Society for Higher IQ. And didn't want to go on his own, so asked me if I'd go with him. So I went along thinking, oh, well, this is just going to confirm that I'm slow because I was in the slow class in school. And turns out I have a genius IQ. I couldn't be more shocked. I was invited to join Mensa, So was my friend, I was happy for him as well. But that was a real shock for me because I had grown up thinking I was stupid. Because I was put in the slow class. But that's just part of this whole neurodivergent thing, So there's lots of different, like each one of those labels that I read out are different, Each one has got a different flavor to it, different things, different nervous system configuration. And then what's happening is, like with people being diagnosed now, because often what happens is the child will get diagnosed as autistic, and then the parent, being loving parents, they want to research it. They research about, well, what does this mean and how can I help my child? And as they're researching, they're going, hang on a minute, I've got all this stuff as well. It's hang on, and then they go and get themselves tested, and they get diagnosed as well. And it depends, I mean, I know when I took a test for social anxiety, I found it very helpful because I scored off the charts. Like I think out of 100%, I got something like 97%. So I was like extreme social anxiety, which I didn't, I thought I was a bit shy when I was growing up, because that's what I was told, and understanding it and understanding that there are different types of social anxiety, and often it's just a wiring issue in your nervous system, and it's not a failing of your character. That was the most helpful information for me, because it meant I just freed up a lot of bandwidth that I didn't have to deal with feeling like there was something wrong with me, and I could just get on with managing myself and helping myself in different situations, And I've continued to kind of gently work away at it, and it's so much less now. I can handle things so much better, and I think kind of doing that test and going, oh, okay, I've got that. So that's very helpful. But it seems like what's happening on a bigger scale is we're slowly realizing that there's no normal, that the idea of normal is not real, that everybody's not the same, and that's okay. And that the idea of that there's a normal and then you diverge from that is getting less and less. And I'd say in time there will be the idea of normal will just become obsolete. That there's a recognition that everybody's way and the way their body is configured, the way their nervous system's configured, the way their brain's configured is different. So, like I read the statistics that in the UK, the incidence of autism has increased 787% in the 20 years since up to 2018. 787%. That's a big increase. And that's not because there's an explosion of autism. What that is they've just got better at seeing it and recognizing it, because there's no blood test for autism. It's observation and behaviors. So that seems like that, you could say there's a 787% increase in recognition, because that's really what's going on, And the whole thing about getting a diagnosis is you really only get a diagnosis if it's a problem for you. Like you only get a diagnosis from the medical profession if it's a problem for you. So a lot of the diagnosis under that neurodivergent umbrella are self-diagnosis, and that's kind of part of the process, and it's necessary for you to find out about the different things, like say me with my handwriting. I always thought it was just because I was left-handed or there was something wrong with me. I think I actually have a bit of that dysphonia, or just not dysphonia, dysgraphia, where it's actually just difficult. I think I'm slightly dyslexic as well. I think, as I say, I've got a little bit of a math thing. I'm good at certain kinds of math and terrible at other kinds of math, but at the math that I'm good at, I'm very good at it, So I don't fit, like I said, I don't exactly fit the social anxiety thing. I don't exactly fit the autistic spectrum thing, because when I started seeing people with craniosacral therapy, there was no spectrum. It was just autism. Now it's a spectrum because they recognize that there's different degrees of it. And I've worked with people who are on the extreme end of the spectrum and on the not so extreme end of the spectrum, and Tourette's and all the other things. It's all part of the beautiful configuration and individuality that people are, and the expressions of who they are and what they're trying to work out in their life. It all goes to help with that, their particular configuration. That's why I'm saying it's part of the process of learning about it yourself and going, that's me. I've got that thing, this self-diagnosis thing, because most people, like in this person's father, they've gone through their whole adult life, and now they've realized they're autistic. It's not a problem for them. So in a way, it's not like they're self-diagnosing, I think I've got a brain tumor. I don't mean it's in that kind of self-diagnosis, but it's part of the process of neurodivergence, of claiming it and managing yourself and helping you to understand it yourself. And the main thing is not to make a badge out of it and not to define yourself by it. It's just another part of you. But it's when you are in deep dreamless sleep, when you're back in the mystery, all of that is gone. Everything goes. And that's who you are in your purest essence. And that's the thing to remember. It's all part of what you have gathered to you here to help you. Your parents, the country, your ethnicity, your gender, everything. It's all part of it. But also to let it go. That this is the stage, the set, the props, the wardrobe that you've chosen to help you. And then when you leave the theatre, to not be attached to it, not to be defined by it, because none of it is you. It's all part of you, but none of it is you.